Hello everyone. Today we will do Class 10 ICSE Board topic Foundation of the Indian National Congress. This topic is also relevant for undergraduate syllabus. It's a very important event in the history of India, particularly history of India's struggle for independence. So in this respect, this is very important not only for Class 10 UG but here in learning about or doing Indian history, it's impossible without doing or without mentioning about the Congress inception and how the sessions moved on. For this, I'll refer to, for the UG, I'll refer to Bipan Chandra, The Struggle for Independence. Books you will also get a link of the book in the description box. You can buy the book from my link with Amazon. So book is India's Struggle for Independence. India's Struggle for Independence by Bipan Chandra. There is also a NCERT by Bipan Chandra, old NCERT particularly, you can refer to for class 10 or lower levels. And the prescribed book for class 10 ICSE board will also be mentioned in the description box. So now, with the topic, I'll move on to the firstly, the date, the year actually. 1885, INC, that means the Indian National Congress, was established. So it was in late 19th century, 1885. So it has a long story of origin or inception, which we have to remember. The sessions of the Congress are also very important. So now, why there was a need for an all India organization from long time. But yes, everything needs a fuel to it. So the fuel was given by A.O. Hume, retired civil servant, and there are other leaders also, like the organizations like Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, East India Association or Landholders Association, etc. had some influence on the foundation of Congress. As you will read this book, you will get to know what I am talking about. So firstly, after the 1857 revolt, as you know, it's after 40 years. So here 30 years actually. So there were a development of a need of an organization which will mean uniformity in the struggle for India's independence. So in the failure of 1857, we see the lack of organization or lack of uniformity in the struggle was the main reason for the failure of the revolt. So the need for an all India based organization was really understood, and the 1857 revolt brought many people together. And after the introduction of railways, post and telegraph, communication became easier. With the press becoming more strong day by day, the publications, magazines, everything became closure. So with that, an all India organization, time was ripe for it. So the birth of Indian National Congress took place in 1885. A.O. Hume was an important figure in this regard, as well as the first president of the Congress. We cannot forget that, W.C. Banerjee, like Momesh Chandra Banerjee. The spelling of his name is different in different books, doesn't matter, it's a proper noun still. So W.C. Banerjee was the first president of the Congress, and there were some bodies or organizations which were there before Congress, which mainly folded the formation of Congress, where firstly in the first meeting there were 72 delegates, and it was held in Bombay. The meeting was held and then it was with very few months the Congress grew, and every December thereafter, in every year, there were Congress sessions, so 3-day sessions where policies or discussions used to be done about the colonial struggle, the struggle against the colonialism, how to do, what to do, who will play which role, and an election used to be done within the Congress for election of its president, like the head body. So in this case, the name of the presidents, first president, first women president, first Muslim president, like the Badruddin Tayeb was first Muslim president. Women was Annie Besant. Then there were Sarojini Naidu. So these important sessions, president is very important. Like in Belgaum session, Gandhiji was there. Haripura session, Subhash Chandra Bose was there. Who was the youngest president? George Yule. Who was the English president? So this type of questions are very important for short question, and as a long question, the genesis of Congress can be asked for the UG. And for class 10, I think the motives and the objectives, immediate objectives, and then again I'll also mention how Congress from 1885 to 1905 there is a moderate phase of Congress, and after 1905 the radical phase began. 1985 to thereafter radical phase began. So 1907 is a very important year. How? 1907 there was a split in the Congress. As I mentioned, this period is for the moderate rule and latter half is a radical or assertive rule. So their split together place in their split took place in 1907, known as the famous Surat split. It was in Surat, Gujarat. The session was held that time. There was some issue with the presidency. Actually, the issue was main problem was about the motives. Like the moderates believed in three-piece policy of peace, fair, and petition, whereas the radicals wanted some immediate military measure, violent measure. Like Tilak said, the famous radical leader Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Swaraj is my birthright, I'll have it. So that type of conflict in difference of opinion led to the Surat split, clash in the Congress, where moderates wanted Raj Bihari, I think the radicals wanted Raj Bihari Ghosh and moderates wanted a different body, and ultimately Dadabhai Naoroji chaired the session in 1906, where the problem began, and 1907 ultimately the Congress togetherness of Congress collapsed, and there were the initial phase was dominated by leaders like Surendranath Banerjee and others, and later half was by the famous trio of Lal Bal Pal, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Bipin Chandra Pal. And initially, other than Surendranath Banerjee, there were Gopal Krishna Gokhale also. So this is about the genesis of Indian National Congress. Now we will discuss about another popular theory regarding the origin of the Indian National Congress, which is the safety valve theory. So what is the safety valve theory? It is often said that as A.O. Hume was an important initiator for organizing the All India National Congress, as he was a British person, they said often that he, for channelizing the outburst of Indian intelligentsia or the Indian nationalists, wanted to give them an organization so they could use their freedom struggle in a manner which is not violent. Like as Indians were, but by that time was quite organized. The time was ripe for a birth of a all-India uniform organization for fight against colonialism. So it is alleged that A.O. Hume understood that very well, and so to channelize the outburst of Indians, he made them under an organization in which some Britishers were also part, so that the Indians could be controlled. So this is a theory. For like there are several historiographies. Like historiography means the art of history writing, as it depends a lot on the historian, not only about the facts. So here this theory is also given, but obviously like not a single person should be given the credit for making an organization or a party like Congress. That time it was not only a party because there were no other parties. Congress was the first political party, an organized one. So it is like an organization, not only a political party, which is now like several India is a multi-party country, so there are several party. Congress is also a party, but for that time Indian National Congress was an organization. As historian Bipan Chandra says, if we consider A.O. Hume, uses the theory of septic valve, the Congress leaders or the nationalists also use Hume as a lightning conductor, which gave finally to the birth of Indian National Congress in 1885. And as I was saying earlier, it grew immensely in the first few months, and in the next session only in 1896 December, 436 delegates participated in the annual session of Congress. Initially there were 72 delegates in the 1885 session, and just in the following year there were 436. Now you can just easily understand the immense growth of Indian National Congress. In 1890, Kadambini Ganguly, the first women graduate of Calcutta University, addressed the session, and it was like a historic move, because as a representation of women, as a representative of women, she talked about the women emancipation with the growth of Indian National Congress. So now I'll end my lecture here. This is all about the genesis of Indian National Congress, which is a very important and significant part in the history of India's struggle for national independence, or in this Indian history. If you want to start reading Indian history, it's a very important part. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe History Lessons for more historical interesting facts, and don't forget to press the bell icon for regular updates. Thank you.